Fox News hit a new low here. They're going to spend an entire segment bashing a minimum wage worker who wrote an article because she can't even afford to buy groceries. Let's watch.
A millennial going viral for ripping into a fellow millennial for making their generation look like a bunch of complainers. Haven't heard that before. Well, it all started when a Yelp employee named Talia Jane posted a scathing letter to her company's CEO, writing, quote, "I haven't bought groceries since I started this job because 80% of my income goes to paying rent. And I'm withering away from putting all into a company that doesn't have my back." The letter cost Jane her job. 29-year-old Stephanie Williams ripping into Jane with a rebuttal post, writing in part, she believes she deserves these things that most of us would call luxuries. Stephanie Williams joins us now. Stephanie, good morning.
Good morning, Sandra. How are you?
All right. So first of all, what made you react to her rant about not being able to afford anything and complaining about her employer?
I think it was, I mean, the whole thing kind of sounded very Dickens-esque. Like, I am so poor, oh my God, I'm so poor. But when I got to the end and I realized that she had included a link to her Venmo account and a PayPal account, asking for people to help her to pay rent because she had gotten fired, I just sat there and was like, you have got to be kidding me that this girl is legitimately asking people to pay her rent for her in San Francisco.
There's only 4 or 5 year age difference between the two of you, both of the same millennial generation. We hear a lot of complaints about millennials and their sense of entitlement. In this case, you're saying she's whining. Is there a problem that you're identifying within your own generation?
I mean, it becomes kind of prevalent because I think there are a lot of stories that get out there, because I think it's one of those situations of like the squeaky wheel gets the oil, obviously. So the more you hear about it, you know, the more it sounds like it is very prevalent. On the flip side, since this article went viral, I've received an enormous amount of emails from people like my generation.
What are people saying to you?
Surprisingly, and I don't know why exactly, I have gotten so many emails thanking me, basically for saying, like, you know, for sticking up for people that actually do work hard and people our age that actually pull their weight and, you know, have 2 jobs, are getting their master's, are finishing their degree, are working in a restaurant, you know, took a construction job because they couldn't get an engineering job out of college. There's a lot of people saying thank you for sticking up for us, and I think that's the big situation, is there are way more people in our generation that actually are, you know, busting their butt to get where they want to be and what they need. They just don't get the press that someone like this girl was getting.
Okay, wait. She works a full-time job. They're framing it like she's lazy, she's a parasite, she's a moocher, how dare she, why she feels so entitled. She works a full-time job and she can't afford to buy groceries. And this one comes out there like, you know, a lot of people are emailing me because I'm such a hero, and they're saying, like, thank you for sticking up for people who do work hard. I just told you she has a full-time job. She has a full-time job, and she had to write an article that says, I can't afford fucking groceries. How am I supposed to live? No. This, I cannot tell you how angry this segment makes me, because what it is victim blaming 101. What it is the useful idiots of billionaires. And those billionaires rigged the system, and these people are the apologists who come out there and they're like, well, you know, if you work full-time and you can't afford to survive, maybe you should look in the mirror, maybe you should work harder. It's such bullshit. They bought completely into the idea that the U.S. is already a meritocracy. Spare me. We've all seen the economic numbers. It's not true that the harder you work, the further you go. For fuck's sake. You have the Walton family, 6 people. They have more wealth than the bottom 50% of the country. Not only did they not work harder than other people, they inherited most of that. This idea of, like, just shut up and work harder and everything will be all right. But that's the point of the woman's article. She's like, look, I busted my ass. I ain't getting anywhere. It ain't my fault. This system's fucked up. This system is rigged, and it's rigged against you. I mean, we covered the economic numbers recently. A new study found that the richest 62 people in the world have more money than the bottom 3.7 billion. 62 people have more than 50% of the world. They didn't just work harder than everybody else. It's not even possible for a single human being to work that much harder than anybody else. Look, I'm... Part of this anger is unmerited because it's not like... I don't think that this girl who wrote the counter article is necessarily a bad person. I just think that she's internalized the values of this rigged system, and she thinks it must be fair because that's how it is. So I have to accept the rules and then work within that system, and if I don't, then I'm just a complainer. No, but what if the rules are rigged? What if they're rigged against you? And by not trying to fundamentally change the system, you become part of the problem. And that's the reality here. If you're doing apologetics for this bullshit system where people work full-time, they don't make enough money to survive, medical bills is the number one cause of bankruptcy, they can't afford to buy fucking groceries when they're working full-time. If you're doing apologetics for that system, at the very least, you're ignorant. At the very least. Many people who would argue that position are stupid. So I need you to not internalize the values of the system because it's bullshit. And we're not... people make it seem like we're the people who are unreasonable. Nobody's arguing for this woman who worked for Yelp and makes minimum wage. Nobody's arguing, hey, she should be making $1 million a year. Nobody said that. Nobody said she should make $500,000 a year. Nobody said that. Nobody said she should be rich. Nobody said that. What we're saying is, hey, living wage. How about that? Is that crazy? Sit down and shut up. Get in line. Why are you complaining? Get a goddamn job. But she has a job. Like, so smug. I was getting emails saying how big of a hero I am because there are plenty of people in my generation who do work hard. So does she, and she still can't pay the bills. That's the point. And then also, look, man, I'm so fed up with millennials do feel entitled, don't they? They're such complainers, aren't they? From the host. You know how angry that gets me? The older generation fucked up the economy, okay? It had this corrupt, grotesque, rotting system where big business leaders, billionaires, corporations buy the politicians and they get what they want and the people are ignored. They gave us the subprime mortgage crisis. They gave us the Great Recession. They gave us very few prospects at home ownership. They set us back big time. All the job creation today is in low-wage sector, and higher paying jobs were replaced with lower paying jobs. And then they turn around and blame us when they fucked up the system. Why are you so entitled? I don't understand. Why are you complaining so much? I don't know. Maybe because you gave us the Great Recession and the subprime mortgage crisis, we can't do home ownership and we're making less than the previous generation? How about that? Maybe that's the reason why we're mad? All of this, their entire argument rests on a fundamentally flawed premise, which is, shut up, get in line, we're already a meritocracy. If you fail, it's a reflection on your morals. It's not a reflection on a rigged economy, a fucked up system. No, look, man, if you're doing a full segment blaming somebody who's a minimum wage worker and talking about how bad and evil and wrong the minimum wage worker is, you kind of miss the point, and you really are the useful idiots of billionaires.